Well, the New Hampshire primary is now behind us, and Trump did win, but it was surprising to see how strongly, supposedly, that Nikki Haley did. Now, New Hampshire is New Hampshire. It is its own thing. It's up in the New England states, and it's kind of liberal compared to a lot of other places. But that said, the fact that, what was it, like 40% voted for Nikki Haley, and at least as the numbers are still rolling in. But I really see this competition between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley as really one, put simply, more war or less war. And that's kind of, you can almost sum up the Trump versus Biden election, or whoever's going to be the Democratic nominee. It's kind of sad that we don't even know who it might be, because it's either Biden or it's going to be some random person that's going to be dragged in at the last minute that nobody's going to vote for. But, it's all to protect democracy. But more war or less war? Nikki Haley has a history of dragging us into every single foreign conflict that she can. She's invented new conflicts in order to try to drag us into those. And quite frankly, we can't do that. We can't do that anymore. I mean, we really shouldn't have done it before. Before it was bad that we did those things. We sent troops to occupy Afghanistan for almost 20 years. We sent troops to occupy Iraq for decades. And what do we have to show for it? Our troops are getting literally pushed out of Iraq right now, as Iran has basically taken over the country. The Taliban, who we were fighting against the whole way because they're the devil, runs Afghanistan. What exactly did we accomplish other than making Raytheon and some of these other major arms producers extremely, extremely wealthy? There were a lot of consequences, a lot of bad consequences for us. How many soldiers lost their lives? How many soldiers were injured with permanent disabilities because of the decisions of politicians like Nikki Haley? It's not been good. And as the power of the United States wanes, the fall of empires tends to be catastrophic. Usually ends in war. And this is where we're headed. If we don't understand that the power of the United States is falling and that our challengers are getting more and more bold, are we aware that World War III is how this ends? If we get sucked into a war, it will destroy us. If we can sensibly step back and fade into the sunset peacefully and let other powers rise and us take our place among equals with grace. Not too many empires in the past have done that, but a few have. And avoid the whole necessary war between secondary powers and the primary power that is in decline. Nikki Haley's like, let's just go for it. Let's just keep attacking everybody all around the world. Let's just keep sticking our noses in everyone else's business. I, for one, if you haven't been able to figure it out so far, am absolutely against that. I think we need to start pulling back from the world. Is it isolationist? Yeah. Or at the very least, it's us stepping back from a unipolar, one sole superpower to the understanding that the world is now multipolar. That's what China and Russia are basically out there saying, is that the world has become multipolar and the United States has not realized that. The United States is not acting like there are other powers that it needs to respect, that it needs to negotiate with on equal footing. Now, I will never say that Russia is a moral country or a moral government that is set up. Now, I know that just offended a few of you. And if you're one of those, I have experience with Russia. I have experience with people who have had experience in Russia. And back in 2010, I was terrified of flying through Russia because of the stories I had heard. Not stories from back in the Soviet Union, but even stories in the 2000s. Just people disappearing. It's not a moral place, not a moral government. There isn't justice. There isn't freedom of speech. There isn't freedom. There hasn't been. And Russia has been and still is run by the mafias. And let me turn over to China. I'm not saying China is good or moral or upright. I'm talking about sheer power. Sheer military power. The United States and economic power. The United States does not own the world anymore. We used to have to balance off with the Soviet Union. And then that came crashing down. And we've forgotten how to treat another power with respect. Not respect as in like, oh, I respect their morals, or I think they're right, but rather they could club my head in or my friends' heads in, so we need to kind of make sure that we keep the peace. The United States isn't keeping the peace in the world. The United States is trying to provoke everyone into open conflict that it can. We used to have people going around trying to put out brush fires, but now it seems like more and more in this administration and other politicians seem to be running around with flamethrowers trying to set everything in the world ablaze. People trying to provoke North Korea. How about we just leave them alone? I mean, until we can actually come up with some sort of plan for what to do with North Korea, how about let's not provoke them? Donald Trump was engaging with them and trying to bring their walls down and try to separate them, try to isolate them from China. But this administration has absolutely pushed them back into the arms of China. And they're selling all sorts of artillery shells or giving artillery shells to Russia for their conflict. Pushing people, pushing countries around works when you're bigger than them and they have no other options. It doesn't work when they feel like they have other options. And that's what's happening with the BRICS currency right now. The BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, BRICS, right? But they've added some new countries now. These countries are tired of being bullied by the United States dollar. The SWIFT system. Anytime we don't like somebody, we cut them off from the SWIFT system. Say, you can't use dollars anymore, which really kind of causes some serious problems out there. And countries are just done with it because they don't want that threat being held over their head anymore. They have other options now. And they are more and more deciding to move in those other directions. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this as and it sounds rough, but if Nikki Haley becomes the Republican nominee for president, I'll probably vote for Robert, RFK. I don't know. What do you guys think? RFK, at least, is not an insider. He's not part of the deep state, apparently. I don't like everything he stands for, but that dude's at least got his head screwed on straight when it comes to keeping us out of foreign conflicts, when it comes to securing the border. Nikki Haley is like Dick Cheney all over again, but with more hair. And I ain't into it. And so that's my opinion on the matter. But this is your channel. So in the comments, let us know what your opinion is. I think most most of the people on this channel are probably for Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe some of you are for Nikki Haley. But it seems like that's the two options now for the Republican. And I like DeSantis. I wasn't sure which way I'd go when it came to my vote, Donald Trump or DeSantis. But, you know, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I knew that things would get simpler by that point. DeSantis is a great guy, and I like a lot of what he stands for. I didn't know if he would necessarily be the right choice, but I think Nikki Haley is the wrong choice. That's my thought. RFK, that's a whole other thing. I think that if Trump is the Republican candidate, I don't think RFK is a great idea. I think he's a bad idea at that point. But I know some of you guys really don't like Trump. So people I know, who I'm not going to mention, who really don't like Trump. And let us know down in the comments what you're thinking about that. And some of you are probably like, I'm just not going to vote. I'm not going to endorse the system because it's fraudulent, or whether you think that that we shouldn't vote at all. Let us know down in the comments. Be nice to each other, though, please. Please be nice to each other. If someone puts something up that you don't like, you can just keep scrolling. It's absolutely okay. By not doing anything to their post, not saying anything to them, you're saying something to them. How about that? If you like something somebody else said, hit a thumbs up on that. If someone's out there saying that they like the candidate or the viewpoint that you think, give them a thumbs up. And if you want to tap a little I completely agree or something like that underneath their comment, go for it. Let this video be like a little unofficial poll of what we'll get an actual poll up here in another week or so. But let us know what you're thinking down in the comment section below. All right, friends, this is the Poplar Report, where it is your reports and what you guys are thinking. And so I want to just open that up for you guys. I wanted to let you know kind of where I'm coming from, what I'm mulling over. But I think war is the most terrible invention of humankind. It should not only be the last resort, it should be like several steps beyond the last resort. It should be, you get to your last resort and you keep on thinking of anything else you could possibly do before it comes to war. And the trigger-happy politicians in Washington, D.C. terrify me. They really do. They seem to just desire any opportunity to unleash the United States military, because they know it's going to make a lot of contractors really happy, a lot of people that are spending on their campaigns really happy, and it sickens me, because the fact that we're bombing the Houthis, not because it's going to accomplish anything, but rather so that we can spend more money on missiles, is just, it's sickening. It just is. It just is. Anyway, let me know if you agree with that idea down in the comments below. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.